Welcome back to Lesson 17. This is the final video for SE301, and in this session I'll give you a short introduction and demonstration of Microsoft Project. So what is Microsoft Project? First of all, it's software. Second, it's a communication tool that allows project managers to build and share project plans. One of the major displays that it creates is the Gantt chart, developed in 1917 by Henry Gantt, a mechanical engineer who wanted supervisors on projects to be able to see quickly whether they were on schedule. So a Gantt chart shows the different tasks in a project, when they're supposed to start and finish, and where they fit into the overall project plan. A project plan is simply a model to show aspects of the project as you, the manager or project team, anticipate it happening. These aspects usually include the schedule, as well as budget, other resources, manpower, and sequencing of tasks. Microsoft Project is used widely to illustrate project plans and deconflict resources. Here at West Point, we use it in our department for internal projects. I had my capstone team create a project plan for the year and lay out important tasks and deadlines that they needed to meet. Project is used in the military by the Army Corps of Engineers in large infrastructure projects, as well as in the acquisition community for contracted projects. It is used widely in industry as well, and many project manager positions require proficiency in Microsoft Project. So how do we use it to communicate a project plan? First, we need to identify the activities and tasks involved to produce the deliverables in the project. That sounds a lot like the work breakdown structure that we discussed yesterday. So the WBS is a great starting place. We'll also need to determine how the tasks are related to each other in time. Which tasks must be completed in order for another task to begin? These are called precedence relationships. We also need good estimates of how long the different tasks will take. Here you see several ways to determine those estimates. You will also need information about resources that are needed for each task. And finally, the plan should show initial responsibilities, much like the linear responsibility chart. Microsoft Project is available to cadets through Microsoft Azure. It's not required for this course, but many of you will need it in the future. To introduce you to the capabilities of Microsoft Project, here is an example project that we will use. The project is to produce a solar-powered car. Here's the work breakdown structure. You see the three major activities and the tasks involved under each one. In Microsoft Project, we can begin by inputting the WBS directly. The indentations show the hierarchy. So you see the tasks design car and procure materials under the activity plan production of the car. And the tasks for the other activities are arranged similarly. At this point, I'm going to switch over to the program itself to show how we can build out components of the project plan. So here we are in Microsoft Project, and you can see the WBS information that I showed you on the slide. What I've added over here are the durations for the different tasks. So the design car task should take 3 days, procure materials 5 days, and then up above that for the activity of plan production of the car, right now it's just taking the longer of the two because they can be done at the same time. For construct car, it says 10 days, and it's taken the longest of the tasks involved with that. This is not the way that it's going to actually happen. We need to introduce some what I called earlier precedence relationships, because some of these tasks need to happen before others. And so what I'll do is I will use the precedence column over here, and I'll add those precedence relationships. As that happens, you'll see the Gantt chart start to get built out. Right now we have bars that represent the durations that we've got here in the duration column. And right now it looks like everything is starting on day 1 and only lasting for as long as it takes to do those individual tasks. So the first task that's going to start is design car, and procure materials can also start at the same time. But we can't start creating the prototype until we've got the car designed and the materials procured. So if I click on that, I can choose design car and procure materials. And those are predecessors for create prototype. And now you see create prototype has moved out here so that it doesn't start until the last of these two has ended. So now I can't disassemble the prototype until it's been created, so that has to be a precedence relationship. I can't deliver the disassembled parts until it's been disassembled. I'll add deliver parts as a predecessor to machine parts and as a predecessor to paint parts. All right, so those two can happen at the same time. And then I can't assemble the car until the parts have been machined and painted. To test drive the car, it has to be assembled. And we won't deliver the car until it has been test driven. All right, so now if I slide this over, you can see what the schedule looks like. All right, so this is the Gantt chart. And so the gray bar at the very top is the time that it's going to take for the whole project. All right, the time that it takes to produce the solar car. This black bar is the time for planned production, and then we've got a blue and a red task. All right, red tasks are called critical tasks. What that means is that if this task gets shifted any later, it's going to affect the whole schedule. This blue task of designing the car, if that gets shifted to the right a bit, it's still not going to affect the schedule, right? I can move this to the right 2 days, actually 3 days. And it'll still be done in time to start creating the prototype on the day that it's scheduled. But any red task, if it gets shifted to the right, it's going to affect the overall project schedule. So now I have all the precedence relationships added. What I can do now is I can start to enter resource relationships. So what I've got here is the resource sheet. And what I have listed are the different resource names. These are just members of my project team. I have a project manager, 4 technicians, a machinist, a fabrication person, and a paint shop. So they've got different initials. And then I've got the amount of money that it takes to pay each one of those, right? So different rates. The project manager gets $950 a week. Technician 1 charges $10 an hour, $25 an hour for the others, $20 an hour for the machinist, $500 a day for the fabrication shop, and $400 a day for the paint shop. And so what I'll do is I'll start matching up resources with tasks, and that'll start to build the budget for the project. All right, so I shift back over to the Gantt chart, and I can go to the resource names. All right, so for designing the car, that's going to be the project manager. So I click there, and you see it automatically figures out how much 3 days worth of labor for the project manager is going to cost. So that's the cost for the task, and that gets included in the activity cost and the overall project cost. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to add the other resources for everybody else. So the project manager and technician 1 are going to procure materials. I'll finish out that, and then I'll come back and we'll continue on. Okay, so we've gotten all the resources added. You can see them all in the resource column. What you'll notice on the Gantt chart is now not only do we have with each task the name of the task, we also have the resources that are assigned to it. right? So this gives us a pretty nice picture of what's happening with our project as we go down the line. So how can we use this to help manage the project? So this project is scheduled to start on June 1st, all right, and that's where all of the tasks start here. All right, so today, all right, there's actually a thin green line right here on June 8th, which is when I'm recording this. And this line is going to move throughout the project, so I can see on any given day where I'm supposed to be. The other thing that it shows us is if we have constraints, all right, if we have resource constraints. So if you look over here on the left, next to design car and procure materials, you see the little red person there, all right? That's saying that I've got some resource that is overbooked, all right? In this case, it's my project manager, all right? My project manager is supposed to be doing two things at the same time, and he obviously can't do that. So I would have to either add another resource, or I would have to deconflict these two tasks in order to have the project proceed in the way that it's supposed to go and not be delayed at all. We also can see our overall budget, all right, and we can track value. Like I showed with earned value, we can track how far we're supposed to be progressing according to budget based on the different tasks, or we can use the overall budget like we did in the earned value problem. So that illustrates how I can use Microsoft Project. It gives you a brief introduction to it. Hopefully that is illustrative and gives you an idea of how it can be used in the future. That concludes today's videos. Thanks for watching, and all the best to you the rest of this week and as you move forward to the next opportunities in your cadet careers.